My name is Margaret, but everyone calls me Maggie. I'm 80 years old, and for the last 10 years, I've called a nursing home in a sleepy corner of Maine my home. The air here carries the scent of salt from the nearby coast, and winters blanket the world in quiet snow. A decade ago, when my husband Tom passed, my body started to falter, creaky joints, a heart that skipped beats like a worn-out record. My kids, grown and scattered like leaves in the wind, thought this place was the best for me. I was too weary, too hollowed out by grief to argue. But let me tell you, in these later years, I've learned that even when life feels like it's winding down, you can still hold on to your dignity, still shine a light for those you love. This is my story, not one of heartbreak, but of how I let go of bitterness and became a beacon for my family, hoping they'd find their way back to each other and to me. My room's a cozy nook, with a window framing a garden where daisies sway in summer and frost paints the ground in winter. On my nightstand sits a photo of Tom and me, grinning on our old porch swing, and a tin box stuffed with letters from my kids, Sarah in Australia, Michael in Germany. A faded scarf Sarah knitted in high school, all lopsided loops, hangs over my chair. Every morning, I settle by the window with a mug of peppermint tea, its warmth seeping into my hands, reminding me of the days I'd whip up oatmeal for my kids, their voices a happy jumble in our little kitchen. The nursing home's alive with small sounds, nurses chatting, trays clattering, the chuckle of my friend Joan, who always slips me an extra slice of pie. But for years, beneath the hum, there was an ache, the feeling that my children, the roots of my soul, had left me here to fade. Things weren't always this way. When Tom was with us, our house was a warm hearth. Sarah would string daisy chains. Michael would build kites from sticks and newspaper. After Tom's heart gave out, I raised them on my own, pinching pennies, sewing patches on their jeans, staying up to quiz them for tests. I never expected praise. I thought love was its own reward. But as they grew, they drifted. Sarah fell for an Australian surfer and moved across the globe. Michael landed a tech job in Berlin, his calls dwindling to a few minutes a month. When my health started slipping, they flew back, their faces etched with concern. "Mom, you can't stay alone," Sarah said, her voice gentle but final. Michael nodded, his eyes on the floor. They found this nursing home. With its kind staff and sunny garden, I agreed, thinking I'd soon be strong enough to go home with one of them. But weeks stretched into months, then years, and here I stayed. In the beginning, the loneliness cut deep. I'd lie awake, the wind rattling the window, wondering why they didn't want me. Sarah's calls were rushed, full of talk about her kids, her shop, the distance. Michael's were scarce, his words quick, like he was ticking off a chore. One night, I caught them arguing on a video call they didn't know I could hear. "You take her, Sarah," Michael said. "I'm swamped with work." Sarah fired back. "I'm in Australia, Mike. You're closer." Their voices turned bitter, each blaming the other for leaving me here. I shut off the call, my hands trembling. That night, I wept, not for me, but for them, my children, squabbling over who'd avoid my care. I was furious then. I called them, my voice sharp as ice. "Did I raise you to shove me aside?" I asked Sarah. She went silent, then mumbled, "Mom, I'm sorry, it's complicated." Michael got defensive. "We're trying, Mom. This place is good for you." Their words stung, but the truth hurt more. They saw me as a weight they couldn't carry. I hung up, swearing I'd never ask for anything again. For months, our calls were frosty. My heart bolted shut. But anger is a heavy load, and I grew tired of it. One evening, looking at Tom's photo, I heard his voice in my mind. Maggie, love doesn't tally wrongs. I decided to let go of the blame. Next time I called, I asked about Sarah's flower shop, Michael's projects, their lives. My tone warmed, and bit by bit, theirs did too. The nursing home became my world. I found friends, Joan, who taught me to play bridge, and Mr. Lee, who'd tell tales of his fishing days in Korea. I joined the garden club, my achy hands still good for planting marigolds. I started writing letters to a teenager named Emma in Canada through a pen pal program, sharing stories of my childhood farm, the smell of Tom's fresh-baked bread, the way my kids' laughter once lit up our home. Emma's letters, brimming with plans to be a teacher, echoed Sarah's kindness, Michael's drive. Writing to her made me feel part of the world again, my words like ripples in a pond I'd never visit. Still, I missed my family. I'd watch other residents with their kids, their voices ringing in the halls, and my heart would ache. I didn't want to burden Sarah or Michael, but I longed to be needed. One winter, Sarah sent a package with photos of her kids, their cheeks rosy from sledding. "We love you, Mom," she wrote. I ran my fingers over her words, wondering if she meant it. Michael mailed a postcard from Berlin, a sketch of a cathedral with scrawled on it, "Miss you." I tucked these in my tin box, pulling them out when the evening stretched long. I began to see their distance as their own battles, lives tangled in work, families, dreams.
Everything changed last spring. My grandson, Ethan, Sarah's boy, sent me a message. He was 20, studying in New York, closer than anyone. "Grandma, I'm coming to see you," he wrote. When he showed up, his hug was tight, his eyes so like Sarah's. Over coffee, he poured out his worries. His parents were at odds, Sarah with her husband, Michael with his fiancée. Ethan said the family felt fractured, everyone too stubborn or stretched thin to mend it. "They mention you, Grandma," he said, "but they don't know how to fix things." His words landed heavy. I saw my kids weren't just distant from me, they were lost in their own shadows. I could have stayed quiet, let the rift widen, but I thought of Tom, how he'd pull us around the kitchen table to hash out any quarrel. I wrote a letter, addressing it to both Sarah and Michael, and asked Ethan to send it. I wrote carefully, my hands sore, letting my heart spill onto the paper. I told them about my first years here, the loneliness that choked me, the anger I'd released. I raised you to hold each other up, not to argue over who's too busy for me. I don't need to live with you. I need you to be a family again. Come see me, not because you have to, but because we're still us. I folded it with a quiet hope, praying my words would find them. A month later, Ethan called, his voice buzzing. "They're coming, Grandma!" Sarah and Michael, with their families, planned a visit for the 4th of July. When they arrived, the dining room felt like home again. Sarah brought a peach cobbler, her kids shy but curious. Michael carried a stack of old family photos, his smile softer than I'd seen in years. We sat around a big table, plates piled with food, stories flowing like a river. They said sorry, not with fanfare, but with gentle words. "We let you down, Mom," Sarah said, her hand squeezing mine. Michael nodded, his voice thick. "Life got in the way, but we're here now."
That day, we laughed, teared up, and remembered. Sarah's daughter shared tales of Australian sunsets. Michael's fiancé showed us Berlin's street art. I told them about Tom, how he'd teach them to skip stones by the creek, his hands steady and patient. For the first time in a decade, I felt seen, not as a problem, but as their mom. Ethan grinned at me, his eyes bright with pride. Before they left, Sarah whispered, "We'll visit again, Mom. Maybe you'll come to us one day." Michael hugged me, his embrace warm like Tom's. "We love you," he said, and I knew it was true. I'm still here, in my room with the scarf and the letters. I tend the garden, write to Emma, play bridge with Joan. But something's different. My kids call more, their voices full of warmth, not haste. Sarah sent a ticket for next spring. Michael's planning a Thanksgiving trip. They're talking again, making plans for family vacations, patching up what was torn. I didn't need to leave this place to pull them close. I just needed to show them who we are. My heart's easier now. Every night, I set a candle on my windowsill, not for the loneliness I once felt, but for them, a light to guide them home. I've learned that love isn't about giving up everything. Sometimes it's about standing firm in who you are so you can offer what matters. A mother's love, constant and true. If you've ever felt unseen in your family, know this: your story, your voice, can spark change. Share yours below. I'd love to hear it. And tell me, where are you reading from? I wonder if my kids, so far away, see the light I keep burning for them.